welcome to a brand new weekly reading. Rissa Vibes here, aka Readings by Rissa. So excited to connect with you today. We are here for another Sunday weekly reading, and we're in a brand new year, brand new week, lots to talk about, lots of energy to cover. How are all of you doing? Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know how you're doing with this new year energy. I did a full, annual New Year reading on Friday, and it was really, really beautiful to be able to pull a card for every single month of the year 2021. So lots of messages came forth for that. I also shared all of my premonitions and kind of predictions intuitively for 2021, which was a little bit of a new way of doing things this year than I've done in previous years. So that was an added bonus. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the 2021 annual card reading, definitely check it out. I just put it as the featured video on this channel so that it's easy for you to get to, and it's got so much information, and that's such a nice resource for whenever you're going through 2021 in any month that you're in. If you need a little extra guidance on the energy of that month, or what's going on in the timeline of the year, or what to expect in the next months, that's going to be a really nice resource for you to constantly go back to and tap into and check in with, because we're going to see a lot of unfolding of that energy in a really, really strong way this year. So good to see all of you as you join and get nice and comfortable and relaxed. Go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths as you get centered for this reading. Today we are going to cover January 3rd, which is today, all the way until January 10th, 2021. And we've got some announcements as well for some events coming up towards the end of this reading, so I'll also mention that later on. But before we get into a brand new week of energy to discuss, let's review a little bit about the energy last week, last year, technically. And the energy last week, the beginning energy, the card I pulled at the beginning of the week was take a moment. And that was really encouraging you to take a little time to rest, to center yourself, to take a break, to take some deep breaths, to allow pause and slowing down for the sake of really gaining clarity. And then in the middle of the week, we pulled the circles card, letting us know that we were in loops of energy that sometimes could create this eye of the storm energy. But when we can stay calm amidst that, we end up breaking cycles of chaos and end up coming out renewed and in alignment and center. And then at the end of the week, we pulled the nature card letting us know that it was important for us to connect to our true nature and nature in general as we observe Mother Gaia and her transitions. We saw lots of earthquakes, lots of volcanoes surfacing last week, and that's continuing. Lots and lots of earthquakes I know have been happening in Croatia, and even more areas around the world. And so I feel like this is a definite sign of Mother Earth shifting with the new energy of the new year, and also just the new paradigms that are being introduced spiritually in our experience here on this planet. So lots to chat about. We also had the Cancer full moon last week as well, and I pulled the Matrix card for that moon, which was really kind of letting us know that we're starting to be pulled from the Matrix, and those of us who are awakened and no longer want to participate in the controlled programming and the Matrix aspect of this reality, we're starting to learn how to pull ourselves from it. And that Cancer moon also heightened some emotional sensitivity to help us see through that and to clear, some of the resistance we may have to stepping out of the Matrix as well. So yeah, lots and lots of energy last moon. And this week we have a little bit of a break from the moon. We don't have a moon this week, so that gives us a little time to relax and recenter and integrate all that Cancer full moon energy. So that would be my first spirit message for all of you. If you really felt that moon energy super, super intense last week, make sure that you take your time this week to integrate what you learned from that moon, what kind of things were triggered, what came up, what wisdom you learned from any tough lessons you had, or any tough conversations or experiences you had, and allow yourself to journal about it, fully process what you experienced, and heal yourself through your mindfulness practices of, yoga or meditation or exercise, or just getting really quiet with yourself and journaling, creating something, art, or any kind of creative expression. All of these things can help you process emotions and wisdom from moons that are that intense, like that Cancer full moon. Super intense. I know I have a Cancer moon, and so any kind of Cancer full moon or new moon definitely shifts a lot of my emotional body, and it's a good thing. It helps us to recognize what needs shifting and how we can adapt and how we can be resilient through those changes. So it's really, really beautiful. And we have to use the tools that we've gained to do that as well. That's a big part of this year and this week's message. So let's go ahead and get into that. So let's cover our weekly reading from January 3rd today, 2021, all the way to January 10th, 2021. And first, I want to start off with the spirit messages. These spirit messages are the messages I get from downloads, readings, and just energetic connections that I find through my intuitive ability in really reading the mass collective and feeling into what's to come. And so the first message that I have is to watch how nature expresses itself. We talked about those volcanoes and the earthquakes last week that were erupting all over the world, and this is a big part of that message and will continue on into this week. And what my guides were really encouraging us to do is to pay attention to how nature expresses itself. So in regards to all of the shifts that we've been having, that great conjunction a couple of weeks ago as well, the energy of that Cancer full moon, the energy of shifting from one season to the next, and also shifting from one year to the next. All of these shifts and these energetic influences are causing nature to express itself differently. And we're going to notice that we see different changes in nature than we've ever seen before, starting with all of these natural disasters and certain things kind of happening in heightened expression, right? Amplified expression, more volcanoes than we've seen all year, more earthquakes than we've seen all year. We even notice that there's more changes in nature and wildlife and in the ecosystem. And I've also really been seeing a lot of changes in the stars and the cosmos and in our cosmic consciousness. I talked a lot about this the other day in the New Year's reading about how our cosmic consciousness is also waking up, and thus we're seeing the paranormal expose itself, more of the extraterrestrial influence, and unidentified flying objects and different kind of star alignments that we haven't seen in ages, right? So this is also a part of nature that's expressing itself in a very unique way than it ever has before. So be observant to this, because we have this awareness within our spirit, this natural awareness, this innate intelligence that tells us that when things are shifting in the world around us and in nature around us, then things are also shifting within us. And if we can look at the mirror of that and appreciate it for what it is, as a way to learn more about ourselves and the way we interact with the world and the universe, then we really gain a lot of awareness and new consciousness to help us move through that with grace. So I also wrote down that natural reactions from our natural self is important. So recognizing how we naturally react to the changes in nature, and also how we naturally react to the ways in which our authentic self starts to express itself or doesn't. So whether or not you're expressing through your authentic self or inauthentic self, you're going to notice that more this week. And you want to pay attention to your reactions to that. So for instance, if you start to realize that you are reacting more to your emotional triggers from a place of peace and alignment and centeredness versus times before when you've reacted out of chaos or frustration or anger or panic, then you want to recognize that that part of yourself is a heightened version of yourself. It's a more centered version of yourself. It's a more peaceful version of yourself. And that is more natural to our human condition in regards to our connection to our spirit. We are extensions of Source, and so we are naturally centered. We are naturally peaceful. We are naturally intuitive. We are naturally harmonious with experiences and the environments in which we live. And so if you are noticing that your natural reactions are now shifting more into that natural essence of self that is balanced and centered, then that's something you want to pay attention to, be proud of, and also continue to amplify and stay consistent in. If for some reason you're reacting more inauthentically lately and you're reacting out of character, you want to observe that as well and notice what is causing those reactions and how you can get back to your natural center, your natural balance, your natural intuition, so that you're not so easily taken out of your essence. Because what is real for us is really a big focus in 2021. We had 2020 to reveal that 2020 vision and clarity to be able to discern duality, contrast, and inauthentic versus authentic. And now that we have that wisdom, we're going to start using that in 2021 to really master our ability to step into that more and to step into our more authentic self, into more real experiences, into more truth. And so this is a big part of it. And we also want to pay attention to how nature is reacting to the mass collective. Just as we experience similar changes that we see nature experience and reflect, we also influence nature in a lot of ways as well. We know this through the ways in which, carbon poisoning and things like that has created so much ecological problems and issues with the way in which our air pollution has increased and the way in which our atmosphere has thinned out, and all of these things, that are causing some serious issues for nature and for nature's expression of itself. Those fossil fuels and all of that, the way in which we live affecting Mother Gaia, affecting how nature reacts, and whether or not nature is actually reacting from a more natural place or from an inauthentic place. And we see that there's a lot of back and forth with that. I think a lot of the global warming that's happening, right, is a expression from nature of its inauthentic self, because it's been forced to, go against what it naturally would normally do because of the way we've forced it into that through those fossil fuels and all of the ways we've built upon it without any consideration of its natural essence. And so we're really wanting to observe this, because this is going to give us clear signs of how things are going to continue to evolve as they show up. So we want to pay attention to that and those shifts and how things are reacting to each other. It gives us a lot of information on what's really going on in the world. Now, the next part of this is about being real with yourself. This is a huge, huge message, and it's about being unapologetically truthful and real with yourself. This is an energy of being honest about what you are really coming here to represent on this planet, what you choose to be a part of and what you choose not to be a part of, what you choose to believe and what you choose not to believe, what feels more true to you based on those feelings, and allowing yourself to put the work in to do better in the areas where you know it's important for you to do better. No longer ignoring the weak points that you have in your spirit, in your character, in your physical body, emotional body, mental body, but instead honestly looking at those things and saying, this is the year where I no longer tolerate myself being less than who I know I am meant to be, or less authentic than I know I am meant to be. And we want to honor our authentic self, because our authentic self is exactly who we came here to be on this planet, and it has a divine purpose and a divine order. It's part of our cosmic connection to our soul work and service to the world. And so we want to really honor who we uniquely are, and we want to be real with ourselves in that. So paying attention to the goals we've set for ourselves, paying attention to the things we value in our life, paying attention to the relationships we keep and the environments we get into, and just the things, the way we live our life, and noticing that if the way we live our life is less than what we want for ourselves, or if the way we live our life is not in alignment to our actual desires for ourselves, our actual feelings, our calling to our soul power, soul purpose, then we need to shift that stuff, because now is the time where we step into our light warrior energy, we step into our soul purpose, we step into our passions, we step into our soul service. And if we continue to reflect or express morals that are not in alignment to that, or characteristics that are not true to ourselves, or we try to conform to a lot of things that other people expect of us, then we know we're meant to do, then that really can throw us off from what we're meant to experience in abundance and prosperity and manifestation and peace and alignment to our true purpose here. So let yourself be real with yourself this week. Notice what you are being truthful with yourself on and what you're not. Notice what you're ignoring about yourself and what you are, how you're expressing yourself. This is a huge one. And put the work in. Put the work in to really shift these things. It's not going to be easy. It's not something that takes, minuscule effort. This is something that takes work to realign yourself to what's true to you. Because we have been programmed as a mass collective, and we've been programmed individually from our own experiences or upbringings, or the environments that we put ourselves in, or the things that we watch, the things that we read, the things that we've learned over a course of several years. And we really want to sift through all that and say, okay, what is really true to us, and let's let go of what's no longer true so that we can let go of what's no longer true in our essence. So put the work in, and tests will show up to see what you're made of. They will show up to test you on if you're going to step into the more authentic self, or even into sometimes the more challenging way to express yourself, even though you know it's best for you, versus the more comfortable or easy way of just going, with the group, or going with a conformist perspective. So this is a lot of energy that will really shape us and mold us for 2021, and really show us what we're made of, and show us what we came here to do and how we can do it better. So if you feel challenges this year or this week, know that it's for that purpose, and look at it from that lens so that you don't get caught up in feeling attacked or feeling disappointed or let down, but instead you look at it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to be more real with yourself, an opportunity to step more into the work you're meant to do for yourself so that you can do amazing work for the world, okay? Because we are luminaries, we are light beings, we are star seeds, we are, soul workers, and we are here to heighten the vibration, and we've got to do it within ourselves by clearing out what's no longer true for us. And the actual card for January that I pulled for the annual reading of 2021 only a couple of days ago is truth and integrity. So literally, we are being called to step into our truth and our integrity of that truth, our follow through of that truth, our ability to really embody the truth that we know within our heart, within our spirit, within our mind, even if it's different than other people's truth. This is where we stand firm and confident in our unique essence, and just unapologetically allow ourselves to stand in that confidence, okay? And that courage, because it takes a lot of courage to stand firm and confident in a truth that you know that is true for you, that maybe many people around you don't truly believe in yet, or don't see clearly yet. So it's okay, you're not alone in that, and you will receive a lot of blessings from your ability to stand firm in what you know is true for yourself, because this is how we break the cycles of programming. This is how we start to break up the matrix even more. This is how we start to pull ourselves from all of the parts of the world and the mass collective that has fallen into inauthenticity. And this is how we revive our true nature in this world and on this planet and in this universe, okay? So the next message with this energy of this week, 1/3 to 1/10/2021, is again faith over fear. And I'm prefacing that again because it is something that is really, really strong, and has been a message that's been coming through for over a month now in the weekly readings, and it's going to continue. I really feel that faith over fear is a big theme for 2021. And I have been really connected to a lot of spiritual teachers, and learning a lot about what other spiritual teachers and leaders are saying about what we're going through. And not just intuitives, not just spiritualists, but also other religious leaders and things like that, because we want to listen to all of the people who are connecting to higher power, higher vibrational energy, and who are looking up for answers. And so, without being and without creating a religion versus spirituality thing, because I really do feel like they are meant to be merged and unified, and there's a lot of similarities between them. And I feel like religion has a different a different meaning, but carries a similar energy as spirituality, and sometimes that can get really mixed up based on who you're talking to and you know what you're feeling in your heart. But I do feel like a lot of religions in the world have a lot of similarities, and that the similarities amongst the religions really represent a lot of what's true about the universe. Because when you see all of these different cultures, traditions, religions, belief systems have so many similarities, you start to see that all of these, you know, these ancient civilizations where they were rooted from have really found a lot of truth through the years in the way in which they've experienced their life and the way in which they've experienced their teachings. So I was watching a lot about it, and I've been hearing a lot of similar things coming from different religious leaders and spiritual leaders of all kinds. And the message is that we are somewhat in the last days, that we are really seeing a lot of evidence of the end of days. And it's not to be afraid, it's not to create fear, it's to create more faith, because a lot of these religions and spiritualist teachers and belief systems are not they're not rejecting this idea of the last days by saying we have to stop it, we have to fix it, we have to clear it away. It's something that's already been predicted. It's something that's already been written. It's something that has been written in so many religious texts, including the Bible, for, you know, centuries. And so when we start to recognize the similarities and the signs that we are in the last days, according to those religious texts and the spiritual history of cycling through, you know, different ages, the Aquarian age, you know, different pantheons, different eras of civilization, we start to realize that there are patterns there, and that the patterns are showing up right now as well, to let us know that yes, we are progressing into a similar experience. And so some of the things that I noticed were kind of evidence of this was that there's pestilence. Pestilence was one of them. Pestilence, famine, you know, extreme illness and disease across the world. We're seeing that with the coronavirus and the pandemic. We've seen that in several different pandemics across the world, this one being one of the worst ever. And now we're seeing a second strain coming in, and, you know, rumors of even Ebola coming in and sweeping across Africa in different areas. And these are proof that there is this pestilence happening across the world that was predicted in the Bible and many other religious texts, and in historical accounts of different prophets and different intuitives, you know, Edgar Cayce, Nostradamus, people like that. Another common theme that I saw was this energy of the Great Divide, representing the last days. This is an energy of duality, of contrast, of separation amongst the world, where we're seeing nations separate from other nations where they were really connected and really in harmony and in partnership, but now really separating in big ways. We're seeing division more than we've ever seen in the election. We're seeing division amongst races and cultures. We're seeing division even amongst masculine and feminine energies, and the way in which that expresses itself, and, you know, the civil rights and things like that of both groups. And we're just seeing the divide as well in consciousness, the great divide in consciousness, this energy of, you know, higher consciousness versus lower vibrational consciousness, being awake and being not awake, right? The matrix and the 5D. We're seeing this division as well. And so these are proof that we are in this energy of the last days. These texts also, many of these texts also mentioned earthquakes and fire and volcanoes and red ash and things like that I talked about in the 2021 annual reading a couple days ago, and this energy of big change on Earth in natural disasters and things like that. And so this is yet another sign that we may be in the last days. Also, people being full of fear and hate, losing their way, losing their connection to source, losing their faith, and being, called to choose if they're going to be faithful or fearful. And of course, we're seeing that right now in so many ways. And then also the energy of false prophets, the energy of people that are deceptive, that claim that they have all the answers, or that this is the way versus this way, and not really being truthful, being deceptive, having their own agendas, their own incentive for the ways in which they're influencing people in an impure way or in a dishonest way. So all of these things are talked about in the Bible and many other religious texts about being in the last days. And you can research this on your own to really notice the patterns of that. Look up the yugas as well, which are the different eras of consciousness and evolution of humanity. The Aquarian age, Piscean age, etc. Different religious belief systems and histories and patterns. All of these will bring you into some awareness about how we're expressing our reality in comparison to patterns of the past. And you'll see that a lot of that is showing up in this energy of the last days. And so the reason why I brought this up is because I want to be real with you all. I want to be honest and open with you all in what we are seeing in this energy and what we all kind of have known within our heart to be true, but maybe a lot of us didn't want to say it out loud because we don't want to manifest more of it, or we don't want to believe it yet. But if we're not going to manifest more of it, we're not going to make it all happen just by talking about it. In fact, by talking about it, it helps bring us the awareness and helps us to come together to move through it with grace. In Jesus's teachings, he says, this shall come to pass. God and Jesus said this in many different ways. This too shall pass. This is meant to come to pass. This must happen. And so when we hear these things, we also want to recognize that these are things that we can't fix or try to delay or try to not have happen. But instead, we just have to trust, unapologetically trust in the truth that we will be protected, that we will be in alignment to the light and to the source energy, and that we will be okay, that everything will be okay despite what we may be seeing that seems very destructive and desolate. So it's going to be okay. We are in a place of, intense change, but we do have a powerful creative energy within us. We are an extension of source. And the more that we can tap into our intuition, the more we can connect to our higher self, the more we can connect to our conscious creative power in collaboration with the universe as a mass collective and as groups of luminaries that we are, this web of light community and so many others. The more we can do that, the more we can move through it in a strong way, and we can really be who we came here to be, which are the leaders for positive change and higher consciousness to help this mass collective human energy move through all of this in the best way possible. Okay? So not to freak anybody out, but I did want to bring that up because it's incredibly important to not ignore these signs and to really pay attention, because we all came here knowing that we were going to go through this. That's part of our soul contract. And so it's beautiful that we're here at such an amazing time, such a pivotal time in the world and in history. And we want to own that. We want to be proud of that. And we want to step into our light warrior and leadership qualities to stand strong in our purpose here. And if you don't know your purpose here in that energy, start asking your guides, start meditating more, start connecting to your higher self, ask those questions, research how to do this, get coaching or mentoring if you're interested in that. I offer that. So if this is something you want, reach out to me with a link in the description. But these are things that we want to really hone the skills in so that we don't just pretend like this stuff isn't happening, and then when things really go down, we're lost because we haven't done the work to prep for it. We've got to be prepared, and we've got to be in a place of peace in our preparation, knowing and trusting in that truth of our source energy always taking care of us, okay? All right, now the next message is about ancestral healing and wisdom. This is an energy of recognizing how we have grown in our family line, in our bloodline, in our connections to our ancestors, our roots in this planet, and noticing what healing has occurred throughout the generations that you are connected to and what you represent in that healing, in that generational healing. Do you represent breaking the cycles? Do you represent clearing the past traumas? Do you represent changing the way in which your family reacts or thinks of things, or breaking the family line from programming that is not true or serving them? These are things that we want to notice, because these also reveal our purpose and soul service in our life. And so if we can notice how our ancestral healing has evolved from the ways in which the generations before us went through things and what they kind of experienced and how they evolved, then we can start to see our part in it. And our family line is speaking to us and through us all the time, and it's redefining and refining itself through our energy. And so, the strength, the skills, the wisdom that your ancestors have had and that was passed down from generation to generation, research that, find out what they went through, find out what their skills were, find out what kind of work they did, find out where they lived, what kind of connections they had to spirituality and to nature and to the values that they held. Find that stuff out, because when you do, you're going to notice the similarities or the contrast between you and them, and you're going to recognize your unique, authentic self is actually here in that family line for a reason. So let yourself pay attention to that, and don't ignore the signs to heal the parts of you that may be still clinging to the old in a way that's not serving you or the family line, or the parts of you that are representing change that's needed for your family line. Don't ignore that. Don't conform if you feel like you're meant to break cycles, right? Allow yourself to honor that, be proud of that, and step into it unapologetically, because that is your truth. Unapologetic trust in your truth, okay? How is everybody feeling? How are these messages resonating? It looks like everybody's feeling good. Kayla said, the best investment I ever made was in myself, and your coaching is the gift that keeps on giving. Aw, thanks, Kayla. It's so good to see you, love. Leslie's here, feeling this. So good that you're loving it. Lego My Ego is here, peace and love. Nika's here. Susan's here. Hi, my dear. Victor is here. Happy New Year to you as well. Marie is here. I'm doing so good, Marie. Thanks for asking. Oh, it's so good to see all of you. Okay, let's keep going with these messages, because I know these are resonating so deeply for us all. The next message is love always creates a way. This is a message of the power, the insurmountable power of love, the energy of how love can spread through all experience and create incredible change in a positive way. Love is an alchemical force, meaning that it can shift a lower vibrational experience or energy into a higher vibrational experience or energy. It is alchemical in that way. And love creates more options. When we step into an energy of love versus anger or fear or judgment or doubt, our mind expands into new solutions, new timelines, and new insight that can actually get us through things that we normally wouldn't be able to get through coming from those lower vibrational energies. So if you want a higher vibrational outcome, something positive, something peaceful, something balanced, something pure, something amazing and prosperous, then you have to treat that outcome with a positive energy, with a loving energy, with a high vibrational energy. So the only way you can get the high vibrational outcome is if you can attack it with a high vibrational energy, and that is love. So if you're going through anything, if you're feeling a lot of energy intuitively, emotionally, if you've gone through some challenges in 2020 and you're still, dealing with the outcomes of that, and you're not seeing the things that you want to see as a result for 2021, and start looking at things with a more loving eye. Start looking at yourself with a more loving eye. Don't beat yourself up for mistakes you've made or for things in the past that you've reacted to negatively, or just, choices you've made that's gotten you, to a place you're not happy with. trust that you can shift that energy by stepping into more love of yourself and not beating yourself up, because it does not help. It only puts you down. It only stifles you. It only creates you to feel more paralyzed and stuck and stagnant. But if you can step into self-love and appreciation for who you truly are, knowing that your mistakes don't define you, your negative thoughts don't define you, that your natural essence is what defines you, and that we're all naturally aligned to source energy, and thus we're naturally worth whatever we want, and we naturally deserve what we want, and we are naturally valuable, then we can step into a really powerful, loving vibration of ourselves that changes everything that we're experiencing. Also, love creates a way in regards to our relationships. It helps us to, step more into an expanded view, an expanded perception of the people we love, allowing ourselves to see them through a more compassionate eye, and thus understand the way that they are handling things. If we had a hard time understanding that, or if they're handling things differently than we would, this is a really beautiful thing. It creates patience, it creates compassion, and it creates a way for us to harmonize and to flow with things that we are experiencing with more grace. So notice how love creates a way. And also, love creates a way for our manifestations. If you're looking at wanting a promotion, or if you're looking at wanting a new place, or a new, set of clothes, or things like that, or a new relationship, these things that you want, if you're looking at it through a loving lens, if you're looking at it with excitement and passion and love for what you know will be the outcome in a successful way, then you're going to have more opportunities. You're going to attract more of that energy into your experience. But if you're looking at it with doubt, fear, or judgment, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a lower vibrational outcome from that lower vibrational energy you're pouring into it, okay? Thank you, Marie, for the super chat donation. Sending you so much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, loving that these are resonating with you all. The next message in regards to love creates a way is also that mind creates matter. So I'm taking it a little bit deeper, knowing that love does create a way, and it opens up a lot of different insights and perceptions and timelines for positive outcomes. But the mind, our mind, the way we think, the thoughts that we have, the things that we choose to perceive, and the ways we choose to perceive things, that's what really creates physical matter. That's what brings things into physical reality, okay? So with our mind, we can create manifestations. Thoughts become things. We've heard this from Abraham Hicks and many other spiritual leaders who are amazing. And when we can really understand that and start to practice it, we start to see it in our experience so clearly. And you really have to mean it. Most of the time, the things that manifest from our mind are really something that we truly believed, that we truly felt, that we truly meant. So this can be negative or positive. Maybe you truly meant that you hate your job and you just want it to be, gone forever. You're just sick of it. And then a few days later, you get let go, right? If you really meant that you were done with this job and your mind was really, really, really in that deep belief that that job was no longer working for you and that you just did not want it anymore and it wasn't worth having anymore, then you would create that experience of being let go, or just, having an opportunity to go to another job or whatever, however it manifested. But your mind being specific in its power will also create that matter. So making sure that when you think about things, you think about them consciously, you think about them in a specific way, and you think about them with a certain kind of care and consideration that yes, whatever you're thinking and believing about this experience right now may actually come true. So be very careful about what you think and also what you say out loud, because what happens in your mind does create matter, materialistic experience. And so think positively, think that you are going to get that new job, that you are going to get, that promotion, that you are going to get that new set of clothes or that relationship, and think about all the ways that you want it to come through and how beautiful it will be when it does and what it will feel like and how that will express itself. That's the way that you make that mind over matter work for you, okay? The next message is about clear, pure, and faithful intentions. Okay, of course, we have the new year. We're 3 days into it now, and this is a time when we want to make clear and specific and pure, faithful intentions for what we want in 2021 in our new year. I shared a few easy ways to make the most out of 2021 on my OnlyFans a couple of days ago. I've also been posting a lot on there with different shadow work kind of tips and tricks, and also shares about my own shadow work, posting about my vulnerable, experiences in my life, also my story, owning our own story, and lots of other things. Starseed stuff is on there as well, but I did just post 4 ways to make the most out of 2021, and I'm going to be posting a lot more on how to really amplify the energy of 2021 along the way. So if you haven't subscribed to my OnlyFans, it's absolutely free. Go subscribe. I usually send daily DMs to all of my fans on there with card readings or little meditations, or just little fun inspirational messages and things like that. And it's a really great way for me to share a lot about myself on a deeper level, and a lot about my intuition and my spiritual path on a deeper level, for those of you who are interested in that, because it can get a little woo-woo, but it's definitely something that is important for me to share, because I think it's a part of my new level of soul work and really being authentic to myself as well, and what I came here to do. So if you're interested in that, there's lots of content on there, including that 4 easy ways of amplifying your 2021 experience. And clear, pure, faithful intentions is part of that. We want to really step into what we want. We want to write it down. We want to believe it. We want to think about it in a positive way. And we want to trust unapologetically in the fact that Source will help us to create it as we do the work to receive those blessings, okay? Now, a part of the blessings that we want to focus on for 2021 is body health and moving our energy. This includes boosting our immune system, and exercise, and drinking a lot of water, eating more clean, focusing on what our body needs to get more healthy and to stay that way. So really allow yourself to be honest with yourself, like we talked about earlier. Be honest with yourself on what parts of your body need healing and need more attention, and how to do that, and start stepping into that consistently, even if it's for 5 minutes a day at first, to build up to longer increments of time. As long as you're doing the work to start introducing that energy into your life, it will be beneficial. And this is the year to do it, because there's a lot of things that could attack our body this year. And we already see that with the pandemic. And so we have to protect ourselves and our physical vessel by staying immune healthy and immune strong, okay? All right, last couple messages of the spirit message side before we do astrology. The next one is about the UFO sighting that happened in Hawaii. That was something that just happened a few days ago. I talked about it in the New Year's reading, but also it was very much in alignment to the predictions and premonitions I have for 2021 in regards to cosmic consciousness, where more UFO disclosure and ET disclosure will be seen. And if you remember my message about this a couple weeks ago, with the Israelite Prime Minister talking about, I think it was the Prime Minister, some kind of Israelite official talking about the Galactic Federation. And so we're already seeing this cosmic consciousness disclosure happening in the mass collective and on the news and things like that. But we also want to be very discerning and very heart-centered and intuitive about what we feel is kind of happening there, what the purpose of that disclosure is, what the people are, if they have any incentives or any agendas with that disclosure, and really feeling into this energy of is this all true, or is this all being expressed in a pure and genuine way, or is there an ulterior motive here? Is there something else that's happening behind the scenes? And so there is going to be a lot of half-truths revealed from powers that be, like the government systems and media and things like that. So just pay attention. But I will say that with that, there is also some real life UFO and extraterrestrial contact happening this year, and it's going to continue to increase, especially for those of us who are already connected to our starseed qualities and cosmic connections, and we feel safe and accepting of that. We're going to feel a lot more of that cosmic presence, and we're already seeing it with that UFO sighting in Hawaii, where it was a big blue kind of elongated flying object that flew through the sky at rapid speed and then dipped down into the water. And when I read that article, it reminded me of the Nomos, which were the extraterrestrial water beings that landed just off the coast of West Africa, where the Dogon tribe was, eons of centuries ago, really. And they landed in the water. It was like a UFO. They landed in the water, they came to shore, and they were like these whale-like beings, whale-like extraterrestrial beings. And they spoke to the Dogons and told them all this stuff about the Sirius star system that nobody in the world knew of at the time. And it took, centuries for that information to be uncovered from other kind of philosophers and theorists and researchers. And when they did uncover it, they found that the Dogons were completely correct in all that they knew about the Sirius star system. And so when they asked the Dogons, how did you get this information? The Dogons took them to their shamanic leader and showed them the cave drawings that he protected that had been there for centuries from their ancestors who experienced that UFO connection. And so this is very similar. It feels very similar to that story and that part of history. And so we may be seeing some first contact very soon in that way. So be on the lookout for that. And of course, stay in your heart and intuitive with what feels true to you as you research that and look it up, okay? And then the last message for this week, 1/3 to 1/10, 2021, before we get into astrology, is believe, be optimistic, follow what excites you, and trust in the signs. So this is all about staying positive. 2021, as much as we'd all love for it to be like a miraculous year where, 2020 was just a fluke and 2021 is like the best year ever, as much as we'd like for that to happen, it's most likely not realistic, because we are still having to integrate a lot of what happened in 2020 and a lot of the ways things shifted in 2020. And that integration period can still be a little bit rough and a little bit chaotic. What I'm feeling for this 2021 year is that we're going to kind of feel these roller coasters where it's going to be up and then down and up and then down and up and then down, because we're rebalancing from the shifts that occurred in 2020. So this is normal, but the best way to move through it with grace is to believe in the positive experiences, believe in your connection to source, your protection from source, your protection from your angels, your connection to your higher self, your ability to be the light amongst darkness. Be optimistic and positive with that mind, creating positive manifestations and abundance. Follow what excites you, follow your passions, follow your truth, so that you can step more into your purpose as a being of light here to serve humanity. And trust in the signs that guide you through that path in a really divine way. And don't get too caught up in trying to control or force certain outcomes, but instead be with the flow of the way in which your guides are guiding you, okay? All right, how is everybody feeling from those spirit messages? Let's go into the astrology. There's only a few astrological influences this week to mention. The first one is that it's more of a numerological essence. I wanted to just mention that 2021 is a 5-year. 0 to 1 adds up to 5. And so 5 represents positive change and positive movement forward, but it's the middle point in progress. It's not necessarily the end point, it's kind of the middle point. And so we want to pay attention to that truth, that yes, we are going to have positive movement forward in 2021, versus 2020, where we had that 4 energy, which was about challenge and contrast and having our angels guide us through challenge and contrast in a divine way. Now we're stepping into this 5 energy with 2021, saying, okay, now that we've listened to our angels, we've listened to our guides, we've connected to our intuition and higher self to get us through the challenges and contrasts of 2020, now we can fully start to step into positive movement forward, but it's a halfway point, which means that it's still going to have some challenges. We're not really seeing the end yet. We're not at the final stretch. We're right there in the middle, where we've got to really make the most the majority of momentum we're putting in. So making sure that we tip the scales in a positive way and that we stay in that momentous positive movement forward so that it can continue to progress as it needs to. Now, the first astrological influence of this week is on the 4th, which is tomorrow, and that numerological day adds up to 10, which is alignment and manifestation. So 1 being alignment, 0 of the 10 being the void space, the opportunity, the clean slate for manifestation and creation, which is beautiful. And so we want to manifest with love and light. We want to manifest with a sense of surrender and openness to whatever we're meant to receive as blessings from the universe, and that we stay in alignment to manifest those positive things. In the stars, Mercury conjuncts Pluto, which creates divine change with communication of our true self and manifestation expression in a positive way. So this is helping us speak our manifestations into reality and also rebirth in a more positive light through that. It also provides deep wisdom and understanding from the things that we've experienced and the things that we've completed in the past with that Pluto energy, okay? Then on 1/8, which is Friday, 1/8/2021, the numerological value of that date adds up to 14. And we have that 14 energy is really kind of this alignment to our awareness of contrast so that we can continue moving forward. Of course, 1 and 4 adds up to 5, so it kind of repeats that 4 to 5 energy as well. And then the 8 number of the day, the 8th of January, represents courage and leadership and freedom and independence. Okay, it's that lion energy, that kind of 818, right? The Lion's Gate portal. So we're seeing that energy show up as well. So we want to step into our independence on Friday. And the sun sextiles Neptune that day, which is giving us more sensitivity to our intuition to help us really step into our independence and our freedom and our courage and leadership. And then Mercury squares Mars that day as well, which is really representative of healing the masculine energy. Mercury and Mars both being masculine planets. And so that square provides healing in both our masculine expressions with Mercury and our masculine energy in action with Mars. And so this is also helping us to feel passionate and inspired and independent in those inspirations and being able to lead with those in courageous and brave ways, okay? Last astrological influence is 1/9/2021, which is Saturday, and that numerological date adds up to 15, which is the number of the alchemist, and the energy of 9 that day representing wisdom and completion and rebirth. This is an energy of alchemical love and abundance. This is about using love as that higher vibration to create positive change. And in the stars, Venus trines Mars that day, which is bringing in even more loving action and romance and expression and unity. And then Mercury conjuncts Saturn that day, which is giving us some serious and practical looks at the ways in which we can communicate more efficiently and allowing us to step into more efficient and mature communication as well. So you may feel called to have deep conversations with those that you love or feel more mature in the way you're expressing your love or the way you're feeling your love. And that can be a really powerful thing for us as well. All right, so those are all the messages, astrological and spirit messages. Before I pull a couple of cards to summarize this reading, I just want to remind you of a couple of announcements or events coming up. First one being on 1/10, which is next Sunday. Before next Sunday's weekly reading, we are going to have a cacao New Year ceremony, and it's going to be so fun. It's going to occur at 11:11 a.m. Central Time, and then it will end at 1 p.m. Central Time, and then only about 10 or 11 minutes later, we'll have our weekly reading next week live as well. Most likely live. I'm going to say most likely live, but it may be pre-recorded. It just depends because I've had to move my schedule around a little bit this week, so I'll be staying in Indiana a little bit longer, a couple days longer. So with that being said, definitely the cacao ceremony will be happening at 11:11 a.m. Central Time. There is a link in the description of this video and in the previous readings with the sign up for that event. And if any of you have problems signing up for the event, then just email me, readingsbyrissa@gmail.com. It is a free event with donations accepted. So I've also put in my donation links for anyone who wants to offer a donation for that event. But it's really just going to be an opportunity for us to come together as a Web of Light community that we are and talk about our intentions for the New Year's, connect to the spirit of cacao, and allow cacao to guide us intuitively in visualization of the abundance and manifestations we want to create for the new year. It's a beautiful, beautiful ritual to make the most of your 2021 practice and 2021 experience. So that'll be really fun. And it's an AM one. So for all of you out there in the UK or in other countries with big time differences, this should be available to you so that you can actually attend, because I know I have had a lot of people request more AM events for the sake of them being able to join at a reasonable hour in their neck of the woods. So absolutely, if you've been really wanting to join one of these events, this is your opportunity if you're in another country and have had a significant time difference with United States, okay? And then also I am still offering the 6-month forecast for all of you who are interested in a private 6-month forecast card reading. That is on special. It's on a holiday special, $22 off the regular price, bringing it down to only $77 for that 6-month forecast. And I'm having that open for all of you until the 11th of January 2021. So that's available to you to also schedule for a private one-on-one reading with me. And the link will be in the description of this video as well to sign up for that, or in the descriptions of any of the previous readings recently as well. And then the last one, just a reminder, check out the 2021 annual reading that I posted a couple days ago live on my YouTube channel, because there's lots and lots to tap into, and that'll really give you a nice full scope of this year to come and help you prepare in all of the things that we're going to experience this year. All right? Okay, with that being said, let's pull our cards for summary for this week, starting with the Healing with the Angels deck for the beginning of the week. Everybody take a couple deep breaths. Get nice and centered and relaxed. Feel free to ask your guides to provide a message to you through these cards as I pull them. We've got the beginning of the week card pulled. We've got the Spirit Messages deck for the middle of the week. Breathing deeply. Ah, you're all connecting so well. The cards are coming up so quickly. All right, last card, end of the week card I'm getting for the Angels of Atlantis deck. Lots of angelic influence this week I'm feeling as well. So call on your angels, call on your guides through any struggle. Make sure you're praying and meditating through anything you're experiencing, because the angels are really here for us this week. I can feel that so strong right now. All right, beginning of the week card from the Healing with the Angels deck is Celebration. Celebration, and this is about celebrating all the good and all the bad, knowing that there isn't really such a thing as good and bad. There is just experience, and it's based on what the definition that we place on it that really dictates how the experience unfolds. So if we look at things from a celebratory scope, even if they're things that aren't really great or that don't really give us a lot of happiness, but at least maybe teach us a tough lesson or help us to move into a stronger expression of our skills and our gifts and our talents and our abilities and capabilities as humans, then that is still a benefit. So you can celebrate the hard times, you can celebrate the tough experiences just as much as you can celebrate the blessings and abundance. And when you do, you end up magnetizing even more blessings and abundance, because the universe and source sees how grateful and how aligned you are in the realization that you can celebrate every single moment of your life, because it is a life energy and it is vitality flowing through you. So what's not to celebrate, right? And so this is a beautiful card letting us know that there are so many things to celebrate in our experience as we enter this 2021 year and this first week of 2021. Next card, middle of the week card, support. And this is our angels, our guides, our higher selves and source supporting us in beautiful ways whenever we need it. We are supported by the unseen. So even if we go through things that are difficult, we can still celebrate the support we have in the unseen and the ways that we can step into that support and receive that support. And this is also support of people in the physical that we have, relying on the people that we know support us and really honor us and honor our truth and support us in the best ways. And so the card itself says, people come into your life for many different reasons. Some you learn from and then they move on, while others return often because you need to learn more from those individuals. And still others remain beside you throughout your entire life. So recognizing what kind of support you have in your life and what support feels most beneficial to you and leaning on that when you need to, whether it's physical or spiritual support, okay? Then the end of the week card to finish everything up is the Archangel Raziel card with intuition, reminding us that intuition is our best survival skill for 2021, and it's truly our best survival skill in general. And when we can step into our intuition and our mastery of it and our expression of it and our understanding of our own intuition, we really step into a place of resiliency, of renewal, of activation of our highest potentials, and our ability to navigate all things with grace and peaceful preparation. So if this is something that you really want to master, if part of your New Year's resolutions or intentions is to become more connected to your intuition, and more connected to your spirit guides, more aware of how to read energy and navigate through energy and sensitivities to emotions and environments and things like that. If you want to master your mood or learn how to manifest and co-create things, connect to your spirit team, these are all things that I teach in my intuition development course and program, the Intuitive Luminary course and coaching program. If you're interested in that, definitely reach out. I am opening up spots for the new year and they are open right now. I'm only going to take a certain amount of people on because I like to make sure I can really offer all of my energy to the people I'm coaching. So if you're interested in this, get on it now. Sign up for a free consultation call with the link in the description so that we can talk about what program option is best for you and we can get you the support you need and the mentorship you need and the information you need to really activate that intuition in a deep, deep way as your biggest survival skill for this year, okay? So much love to all of you. How are you feeling? So glad that I got to connect with you twice this week with that annual reading on Friday and now today with our weekly reading. Thank you so much for joining me for all of the years and all of the readings that you've joined with me on. It's such a pleasure to be able to always connect with you all every week and to have another year under our belt of this community of Web of Light luminaries. I'm so grateful. I love you all, and I will talk to you all very soon next week for another weekly reading. And again, remember, next week's reading, we're going back to the regular time where we will have the 1:11 p.m. Central Time weekly reading, but we're also having that cacao ceremony at 11:11 a.m. Central Time. So still join in early in the morning for that cacao ceremony. It's not going to be on YouTube, it's on Zoom, so you've got to sign up for it through the Zoom link or through the calendar link that I post in the description. So I'll post that again today, and I'll also post a flyer in the community page this week to help you navigate to that with ease and sign up for that event. Okay, I love you all so much. Have a good one, and I will talk to you next week. Peace.